I'm Katie and this is Sam, and we're going to take you through a 20-minute core restore today. So come on and join us. We're going to start in a 4-point kneeling today. So we're going to bring ourselves down, hands under shoulders and knees underneath our hips. And I want you to start by finding your breath. So lengthen through your crown and lengthen through your tailbone. You want your crown and your tailbone to be in the same line. As you inhale, let your diaphragm expand and drop to the floor. As you exhale, think of using your abdominals against gravity, picking up the abs to support the spine. Again, inhale, release. And exhale, find your lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, find your lift. Inhale, release. And exhale, find your lift. If this is feeling too strong through your hands, feel free to make a fist and press through index finger and longest finger, which will alleviate the break in the wrist. Or if it really feels too much up on the arms, you can always come down to your forearms here, but I'm going to stay with my hands underneath my shoulders. From here, we're going to inhale and slide our right arm and left leg as far as we can away from us without changing the shape of our back. And we're going to keep the fingertip and the tiptoe on the floor. Inhale, slide out. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, slide out. Exhale, slide in. As you take that shift from side to side, I want you to think about making it as imperceptible to the naked eye as possible. Inhaling on the way out. Exhaling on the way in. And there is a little tendency sometimes to overreach. Watch what happens if I overreach. I'm coming all the way out of that alignment. So we want to make sure that we are square through the shoulders and square through the hips. Breathing all the time and making sure that we feel like the front of the torso supports the back of the body. From here, we're going to take 2 more, inhaling out, exhaling, come back together. The next one, hold it out. So hold your fingertip and your tiptoe where they are. We're going to lift the fingertip and the tiptoe at the same time. So take an inhale to lift, exhale to tap back down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to tap back down. We've got 4 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Bring it back down, slide it in. And we're going to slide the opposite arm and foot away from us. Inhaling to lift. Lengthen as you lift. Exhale to lower. If you had a champagne flute in the center of your spine, you wouldn't tip it off your back here. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Slide all the way back in, hands back underneath the shoulders. From here, you have an option to keep the knees on the floor or to float the knees off. We're going to tick our toes over. So stay open through the shoulders, long through the crown and the spine. As you exhale, you're going to use your core to lift your knees off the floor. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Now, if it feels too much to lift the knees off, get to that preloading feeling. And just because you're not lifting the knees doesn't mean that you're not activating the abdominals. So using your exhale to either lift or to engage. We've got 4 more. 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Let's see if we can hold this last one off for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the knees, bring the toes together. Take the knees nice and wide. Slide your hips back over your heels. Nestle your rib cage in between the thighs and lengthen the arms into a child's pose stretch. If arms extended doesn't feel nice for the shoulders, bring the elbows out, place the hands on top of one another, and let the head relax on the back of the hands. Let's just get into that lateral flexion here. So walking your hands to one side. Fine to keep the hands on top of one another. or finding an extension if that's where it feels nice. And then when you're ready, bringing yourself through center to the opposite side. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Come all the way through into center. We're going to walk our hands back up until we come up to sitting. We're going to turn ourselves around to face the opposite direction here. Feet flat and knees to the ceiling. And we're going to work through a small range C curve. So start with the hands behind the thighs and hold on to the thighs. This way you can manage how much tension comes into your abdominals and you're not overworking through your back or your hip flexors. So we want to sit up nice and tall and keep tension out of the shoulders. Full breath in. And as you breathe out, we're just going to take ourselves off the back of our sit bones. Scoop, tuck, roll. And you only want to get to where your arms can lengthen. Keeping the curve in the back, have a look at where your knees are. If your knees have started to splay out, bring them back to parallel. If in this position it starts to feel like the front of your hip is overactive, widen the feet and knock the knees together. This will just bypass the hip flexors slightly. And then we're going to come up, scoop, tuck, roll, and lift. Use your exhale to lower, breathing out to go down. And then use your inhale to bring yourself back in. As you come back in, try not to lift with the chin or even with the breastbone. You want to feel like you're coming back to the center because your ribs are scooping towards your hips and lifting up. So you're a human concertina. Scoop, tuck, roll, and then scoop, tuck, lift. 2 more like this. Scoop, tuck, roll, scoop, tuck, lift. Last one. If you're feeling fancy, you can take your arms off. This will just mean that you're loading a little bit more through your core. If it feels too much through the hip flexors, again, widen the feet, not the knees together. And at any point, you can hold on to the back of your thighs. From here, we're taking a little tiny cinch. Exhale, ribs to hips. Inhale, lower. Exhale, ribs to hips. Inhale, lower. Exhale, ribs to hips. Inhale, lower. Remembering that you don't have to take your hands off your thighs. You can manage how much tension is in the abdominals by taking that through the arms. Last 2. Last 1. And when you're ready, we're going to bring ourselves all the way back up to that seated position. Just bring the soles of your feet together, knees out to the side, and just take a little hinge forward into a stretch. If it feels nicer, hands can come behind your back, and you can press your hips up and forwards. Otherwise, just a little hinge. From here, lifting up, we're going to bring ourselves onto our sides. So I'm going to take my elbow quite far back along my mat, and my forearm is nice and straight. I'm going to take my knees back a little bit, so my knees are definitely not forward of this hand, and my top hand, my other hand, is coming directly in front of my fingertips. Now, if you're setting this up and you're here, you're going to find the activation in slightly the wrong place, so make sure the heel of that hand is flat on the floor. From here, we're going to press into the forearm, and I want you to think of scooping your elbow into your waistline, and we're going to press into the palm of that front hand. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, press and lift. Breathe in and lower. Breathe out, press and lift. Breathe in and lower. Keep that front hand pressing. And lower. And we're going to take 4 more. 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last one. We're going to try and hold this one up. Now from here, scoop your elbow in towards your waistline. We're going to drop the hips, tiny lift. Drop the hips, tiny lift. 4. Press through the front arm. 3. Press through the front arm. 2. Press through the front arm. Last one, hold. The challenge, only if it feels like it's available for you, is to lift that top arm all the way up for 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back down. From here, we're going to turn ourselves around to the other side. Make sure that you're setting this arm up a little further back than you think you need. Feet stacked and knees behind the line of this hand. Top hand is forward so that we can press through. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Keep pressing through the forearm and pressing through the front palm. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last one, hold this one up, press into that front palm. Dip and lift, dip and lift. For 4, 3, scoop the elbow in towards the hip. Last 2. Last one, hold up, challenge if it's there, is to lift that top arm. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back down. Really nice. From here, we're going to spin ourselves around, feet flat, knees to the ceiling, and this time, we're going to bring ourselves all the way back down to the floor again. So from this position, making sure that our feet are flat and that tailbone is nice and anchored onto the floor. Heels of the hands onto the front of the hips, nice and relaxed over the abdomen. Full breath in, full breath out, full breath in, full breath out. And just finding that mobility forward and backward through the pelvis. Last 3, last 2, last one. Find the place that your pelvis feels best in throughout the whole of that range into extension and flexion, keeping the rib cage down. From here, we're just going to pop the hands nice and low. Inhale. As you exhale, feel your core wrap around, feel that breath lift and float your right leg to tabletop. Inhale and place it back down. Exhale, left leg to tabletop. Inhale and place it back down. We're just going to work through alternate legs, exhaling to lift, inhaling to place it all the way down. And as you're taking your legs from side to side, try and make that shift from side to side as imperceptible as possible for the naked eye so that you're not visibly rocking and rolling from side to side as that leg comes down and we take the opposite leg up. We've got 4 more here. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2, keep the connection between rib and hip. Last 1, hold this leg up. From here, for a little bit more of a side stabilizer challenge, take your arms a little higher or even above the head. Otherwise, keep the hands by the side of the hips. From here, we're going for a single leg extension. Inhale, slide the leg away and try to keep the same distance between the hips and ribs on both sides. Exhale and fire it back in. We've got 5 more. Inhale out. Exhale back in. Inhale out. Exhale back in. Last 3, inhale out, really lengthen the toe away from you, keeping the line of the pelvis nice and static. Last 2. Last 1, hold the leg out. If you can, we're going to lift the leg up and then lower the leg down. If you're feeling tight through the hamstring, don't worry about your range in this leg, and you can bring a little bit of softness into the knee if you need it. But I would prefer you to keep a longer leg and a shorter range of movement. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lower it as far away from you as you can, keep in control. bend it back into your tabletop position and replace it down to the floor. Maybe give yourself a little pelvic tilt forward and backwards. Work out where it is you need to be for the opposite side. Full breath in. Full breath out. Fire the opposite leg up. Good. From here, taking that inhale, sliding it away. Take your exhale, fire the thigh bone back in. Inhale away. Exhale, back in. And if you need to bring those arms back a little lower, that is absolutely fine. I want you to really use your breath. It's easy to forget about the breath and just think about trying to stretch our leg as far away as possible. But I want you to really make sure every movement happens because of the breath. Inhaling, lengthen away. And the exhale connects the abs to bring the leg back in. Last 3. And it should feel a little different when we're able to use those abdominals as the powerhouse for everything else. Last one, hold the leg out long and just check that you are still nice and level between hips and ribs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Hold this one out long. When you're ready, fire the leg back into the chest. Place both feet flat on the floor. And then just take that little windscreen wiper action through the legs. If it feels nicer, bring those arms to a cactus or a goalpost. Anywhere along this line that your arms want to sit is fine. We're just hoping for that nice rotation through the lowest portion of the spine. Good. From here, bring those feet back flat. If forward flexion doesn't feel correct for you at the moment, then feel free to omit this one. But otherwise, it's quite nice to add a little bit of forward flexion. So just interlace the hands and place the hands behind the head. Now, if you have a diastasis or an abdominal separation, feel free to omit this. But if you can control the pressure, it's fine to keep going with a little bit of forward flexion as long as you have control of it. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, bring the elbows into those peripherals and think of this as an articulation. Keep your head heavy and just use your hands to lift your head off the mat an inch, and then really try and relax your neck as much as possible. Keep breathing as you lift, and then have a look at what's actually happening in your abdominals. So from here, if you can see a pyramid-shaped line, this isn't the exercise for you today, so take this one down a level and bring the head back flat to the floor. You want to feel like you're stable through the core and not pushing your muscles out to hold you, but trying to draw them in as close to the spine and support you. Inhale, find the re-articulation down through the upper back, neck, and head. We're just going to take 3 more of these today if it's available for you. Elbows in the peripherals. Inhale. Exhale, head, neck, shoulders lift. Have a look at what's going on. Inhale and re-articulate down. So finding the mobility through the top of the neck and the back. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Head, neck, shoulders lift. Inhale, coming all the way down. Last one, exhaling, head heavy in those hands. It's really hard to get the neck to switch off. So do just try and make your head as heavy as you can make it into the hands. Inhale and relax all the way down. Very nice. Just allow your arms to release. From here, we're going to bring both knees into the chest and give them a little squeeze. From here, we can roll over onto the side and just bring ourselves up to sitting. Good. Hopefully you're feeling nice and warm now with lots of control and awareness around your core. We'll catch you next time. again.